St. Paul mentions the fact that Scripture confines all things under the power of sin. For ever since the fall, because of man's disobedience to God's command, humanity fell under the power of Satan and into this slavery to sin. God was no longer their ruler, but Satan was. Scripture teaches clearly God did not make death, but rather it was through the devil's envy death entered the world. The devil hated that Adam and Eve were in communion with God, and he was not or ever could be anymore because of his irrevocable choice against God's reign over him. To help us understand what the devil felt or thought, envy is sadness on account of the goods possessed by another, and the good that Adam and Eve possessed was communion with God. And the sins that come from envy are hatred, murmuring evils about people, damaging someone's reputation, resentment at our neighbor's prosperity, and joy in their adversity. So when we fell into sin and death in the beginning, there was a certain sinful joy the devil experienced, thinking that he won the human race from God, from all eternity, by their own free will. And we notice in humanity, there was the first disorder of turning away from God, where sin was experienced, guilt was felt, and disharmony within them was experienced. And immediately they felt their need for redemption, but also because they now knew good and evil. They thought maybe God doesn't know, or we can lie about what happened, or maybe he doesn't even care about us at all, or maybe we did nothing wrong at all. Good and evil are just human constructs to restrain our free will. Now, under Satan's power, they no longer saw God properly, like many today, in his divine goodness and majesty, worthy of all worship, but distortedly as someone who doesn't have the right to be God. They saw him as an equal or someone who rivaled their very freedom, all distortions of Satan's lies now within them. And this is why, through the redemptive act of Christ, St. Peter says we've been called out of darkness into the marvelous light of Christ. Christianity is where we begin to see God properly again through Jesus Christ, through his righteousness, his love, his mercy, his kindness, his being worthy of all worship. That death was the proper punishment for sin and was not the will of God, where we begin to see the loving face of the eternal Father, who our first parents turned against in the beginning and fell into the slavery of Satan. And the redemptive act of Jesus Christ draws us back into holy communion with God again from this sacrifice, where mercy and love propel from all eternity to reach us and redeem us.